You started Christmas shopping yet?
Bro, my daughter. So I fell asleep on the couch, right?
What happened?
You know, I was asleep.
Just
But
enjoying your
she,
shit.
yeah, so she comes, hey daddy, I want to order this online. You know, it's a Christmas gift.
I already know.
So I'm like, I'm half asleep.
Go
So
ahead.
I'm just like, okay, yeah. I said, I ain't have my wallet with me. See, you know, I'm just like,
Go
my
ahead.
wallet. She like, here you go. Like
She already had it.
Yeah.
Gave you, I knew you was gonna say, here's your card, Dad.
She was like, which one should I use? I was just like, shit, just, you
Pick
know,
one.
whatever. Just pick one. She said, this one? I said, yeah. Like, I'm asleep. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing major, but it was just, but she knows what she doing.
Hey, she messed around and came in that $1,500. You said yes, Dad. I was asleep.
Yeah.
Them girls had you wrapped around your finger. I got 3 boys, so it's hard for me to relate. But boy, you give your daughter whatever she say she want, huh?
Yeah.
And then your son asks what you would have said.
See, he wouldn't even have came and asked me no shit like that at night. You know what I'm saying? But he's more. I mean, he wants what he wants, but he don't be doing. He don't be tripping
doing no
like
tripping.
that. Yeah.
A daughter knows she can get whatever she want from daddy.
Yeah. She knows. She's starting to realize her power, and she's starting to use it.
Hey man, it's better to get it from daddy. You teach her now. Teach them early. You know, so.
That shit,
man,
that shit crazy.
Yeah, Christmas is right around the corner, and I had not started no Christmas shop. I said, man, Christmas is. I'm ready for I'd be like the Grinch in the house. I'd be ready for the holidays to be over with. I'd be like, man, let the new year come around. You know, let's get started with the new year. Too many people go broke, spend all their money for Christmas and these holidays that they don't already have as it is, and then you start the new year and you in more debt than you was even before the holidays. But you know, I'm not trying to be the Grinch or nothing. It's true.
It is. Like shit, you go spend all that money, charging them credit cards and shit. You know what I'm saying? Trying to go give gifts to everybody. I mean, if you got it like that, cool. But the ones that's like trying to get your shit together, I would say forget all those holidays until you get your shit together.
Mm-hmm.
And then just have like an understanding, like with your family or whoever, and say, hey, let's focus on the important shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying to be out there fucking off your money and doing stupid stuff, and then not celebrating Christmas because you did something
been
stupid.
Your money off all year. Anyway.
I mean, like, you know, if you got your money together, you know what I'm saying, keep them credit card balances low. You know what I'm saying? Don't go wait for Christmas and then go charge up your credit card. Charge up your credit card balances where your shit is over 90%.
And a lot of people, if they could just have that understanding or have that conversation, like you said, with family, some other family members be thinking the exact same thing,
right? But
they feel obligated to have to go get you a gift because you getting them a gift. It's like sometimes if you just like you say, hey man, I'm trying to build my credit. I'm trying to save some money. I want to start some things. You know, this holiday season, I'm just gonna focus on saving my money and building. You know, rather the other person might be thinking like, man, I was thinking the exact same thing. I didn't want to have to go spend X amount of dollars. You know, like if you already going through things financially and your finances aren't where you want it to be. I know we all want to be in the spirit of giving and you know, gift giving, but it's like right now it might not be your time. Like you have other goals that are way more important than going to buy gifts for other people. You know, just to say, you know, hey, hey, this is for me.
The only person that wins in that situation is the major corporations, because all these products are overpriced. I mean, the profit margins on them are stupid. You know what I'm saying? So around Christmas time, these corporations make enough money to get them through the whole damn year. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody go spend. I mean, Jordan sell out. You know what I'm saying? I ain't knocking none of the brands,
but
I'm just saying that all these major companies and corporations, they selling out for Christmas, the holidays. You know what I'm saying?
You come around on the beginning of the year after this day is over with, and you spent all this money, you know, and dug yourself into a deeper hole than what you was already in. And like you just said, who wins at the end of the day? Like, yeah, you know, the gift is good, and like you said, if you have it and you got it and you in position to do so, cool. But if you already struggling financially, you know, become more cautious of what you like. Don't dig yourself in a hole to start January 1st and be like, all right, now what am I gonna do? Like I done stacked up debt this high and I added more to it. Like now what do I plan to do? Like become these are your finances, and like if you can't manage the money that you making now, making more is not gonna do you're not gonna be able to manage more. You know, so start just taking, you know, being conscious of like, you know, just because it's a holiday and if you don't have the money to spend, don't put yourself in a bigger hole to try to.
Yeah, because you worrying about other people. You know what people may think or what you should do. You know what I'm saying? What they think, what you think you should be doing, just based off of how everybody's moving. You know what I'm saying? And nah, man, you got to really rock to your own beat. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't afford to spend that money like that, then chill.
Then don't do it.
And shit, if anybody got a problem with that, then they the problem. You know what I'm saying?
At the end of ain't nobody paying your bills.
Right.
Ain't nobody gonna pay your bills for you. When that January 1st come around, ain't nobody gonna take over your dick and come in and pay your bills because you trying to keep up with this image that they put on you.
Right.
Like you got to be responsible for that. You got to be responsible for your bills, and you got to make the responsible decision to set your boundaries on what's your limits and what you can and can't do, what you can and can't go over as far as with your finances.
Right. And you shouldn't. I mean, I look at it like this. You shouldn't go charge up a credit card if you don't got the money to pay it off within 30 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, see, that's the wrong type of debt. You know, that's called bad debt. So you go out there and you charge up this credit card, and then it's taking you fucking 12 months to pay off your Christmas gifts, and then all that interest is stacking up on that money. So now the credit card company is winning because you paying the interest. You know what I'm saying? The corporations is winning because, you know what I'm saying, you went and bought all their products, you know what I'm saying, that they make for dirt cheap and then, you know, sell for pretty expensive. You know, I'm not knocking that. That's business. But I'm just saying, understand who's really winning. And yeah, the person that you give the gift to, you know, they're going to accept it. They're going to be happy about it. But at the end of the day, you don't have to, if you want to give them something, you don't have to wait till Christmas, or you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you rock to your own beat. Like, get it when in due time. Yeah, put your money, manage your money. Like pay attention to your money. And before Christmas, I would start look at your finances around like September, October, and just look and say, okay, this is where we at, right? You know, and kind of predict the future a little bit and see where you going, and then have that conversation with whoever, you know, your family or whoever you with. Then don't wait till Christmas and be like,
and try to have the conversation.
Yeah,
go ahead,
be like
them
a few weeks away from Christmas. Now you like, man, we ain't gonna be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like had a conversation in advance and just see, all right, can we afford to do gifts this year? Because we're not gonna go broke to go get no damn gifts, and we're not gonna jeopardize our finances, our savings, our investments, our future for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna do that. So if everything lines up where you can do it, cool. But if it doesn't, then shit, y'all have that conversation and come up with an agreement, and then plan
accordingly.
Right.
And so many people have the issue of, you know, they don't want to budget their money. They don't want to feel like they have to live on a budget. It's kind of like, I'll just go run this card up and I'll figure it out afterwards.
Right.
And like you say, they're not taking into account those interest rates that you're paying because it's so subtle, but they add up and it's taking them forever to pay that off.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, if you can't pay that off in 30 days, then you can't afford it.
Right.
So don't dig yourself and run your credit cards up and just be like, I'll get around to it when I get around to it, because I want to make everybody else happy because it's the holidays and I want to be in the spirit. Like, no, like you said, at the end of the third quarter, you know, beginning of the fourth quarter, you sit down and you take a look at your finances for the year, and like you say, decide, okay, what can I do? And then you can say, like, I'm on a budget. Okay, this year, this is what I can spend on Christmas gifts. I can spend this amount. This is my budget for Christmas this year. And then don't go over that budget.
Right.
And don't allow yourself just to run up the cards, just buying everything that you see, instant gratification, buying everything that you want right now for people that right now. But what happens 6 months from now?
Yeah.
What happens 3 months from now? And then you're talking about the good debt and bad debt. You know, keep your credit cards under the 30%. A lot of people don't even realize that. It's like, you know, you'll run your credit card up and then you'll be at 75% usage or 100% usage. You'll max out your credit cards.
Right.
You not even realize what it's doing into your credit as well.
And see, yeah, it has a negative effect on your credit, but credit card interest rates is some of the highest interest rates you're gonna pay. You know what I'm saying?
They
So
be like the 20s or something, 20% or something like that.
Yeah. So just think about it. Every $100 you spending $20. You giving them $20
for every 100 that you spend.
Yeah. So every 100 is $20. So every 1,000 is 200, and that racks up monthly. You know what I'm saying? That's not like 20% of your balance for over the 12 months. So when you have these super high balances on your credit card, these interest rates are just steady stacking up, and then you making the minimum payment due, but the only thing you paying is interest. The minimum payment is the interest.
The interest that you're paying on that.
And they really want to keep you in debt. They want to keep those credit cards high, so it's a business. They can make their money. So the higher the balance is, and the higher, the more money they make off of interest.
That's what people don't realize when they up their balance. Say you got a $3,000 credit card and then they up your balance to $5,000 or $6,000. Right. A lot of people be like, "Oh, I got more money to be able to spend," but they know if I give you $6,000, you're gonna most likely go spend more of that $6,000, which the interest rate on that $6,000 is gonna be higher than what it was at the $3,000.
And see, it's nothing wrong with the balance, like the balance going up is a good thing, but you just got to know how to to be disciplined and
don't go over the 30% of it. Right. If they up your balance,
the 30%, that's one. But what I say with credit cards is the 30 days, right?
If you can pay it off in 30
days. Pay it off within the 30 days, because then you avoid interest. You see what I'm saying? So now it's basically like cash. It's like, instead of me walking around with a bunch of cash, I go here, I run my credit card, you know what I'm saying, and then before the due date, before they charge the interest, within the 30 days, I pay off the whole balance. Now I'm not paying any interest on it.
And that's where I see it with a lot of people, as far as when it comes to the credit card, they'll say, well, what's the point of me having the credit card if I got to pay it off in 30 days? They're like, I need this, I want this, but I can't afford it all right now, but I can make payments on it. And I know that's where a lot of times they fall into that debt, that heavy debt with credit cards.
Credit cards is used for, for one, it's good, like if you go to the bank to try to get a loan, or if you're trying to get a line of credit, or if you're trying to finance something, for your business and stuff like that. They want to see credit, but they want to see available credit. They don't want to see utilized credit. You know what I'm saying? They want to see that available credit, but that's just a trick to where, okay, I could still build my credit, right? I could still increase my balances, you know what I'm saying? Not my balances, but my available credit. And then I can avoid all the interest. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you pay it off in that 30 days, so you're not paying no interest. And the interest is what really costs you the most. You know what I'm saying?
If you can't afford to pay it off in 30 days, then you might not need whatever it is that you're trying to get.
Then you can't afford it. You can't.
What old Kanye say? I got a habit with spending it before I get it. And that's what a lot of people, like, they don't have the money right now. They'll go buy whatever it is that they want, and then they'll try to figure it out along the way. And they keep on doing that, and keep adding up, and then they're realizing that I not only can not keep it up on the 30%, but I can't even afford. I can't afford to pay that.
The 30% is like, that's like how you how you keep your credit score up. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep it under 30%, and it'll continue. Your credit score stay up. But once you get like over the 90, you get past 50, 60, 70%,
you start shooting it down, because it starts saying you don't have that much available credit left.
Right.
And I be telling people, who have a hard time understanding about credit. I was like, and they talk about the banks who don't, they don't want to give them loans and stuff like that because of their credit. I was like, if I loaned you $100 and you don't pay me back, do you think you could come back and ask me for $100 again?
No, that's
you got bad credit with me. And that's the same way the banks, when they start talking about, the banks don't want to give me a loan, or they don't want to help me with this. It's like, if you take a look at your credit and you come in there with a 500, 550 credit score, and you asking for a small business loan, of course they're not going to want to give it to you. You don't have a good history of paying people back. It's the same way you do with your, you look at your credit with your friends or people that ask you to borrow money. People can't keep coming to ask you to borrow money, and they're not going to pay it back. So beware of your credit and how you use your credit, and how you utilize it, and the available credit that you have, and the interest that you're paying on, the money that you've used.
it's a game, it's a game. It's, you just got to learn how to play it. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn how to play it. And once you learn it, it's cool. But see, I think a lot of it is just the ignorance. Not the ignorance, but just the not knowing. You know what I'm saying?
The ignorance, not knowing.
They don't know how to play the game and shit. I had to figure it out too. You know what I'm saying? I had to figure the credit card game and the credit game and
really
stuff like that.
The money game.
It's really like credit cards could be a trap. You know what I'm saying? And first thing you do when you go to school and shit, they give you you get all the little student loans. The next thing you know, they start shooting you all these credit cards and stuff, and then you get it as a young person in college and stuff like that. 19, 20. They shoot you a $3,000 balance, and you're like, oh shit, I got $3,000.
You go run it up.
You go run it up, and then now you stuck with the high interest. You know what I'm saying? You got this high ass balance, you can't pay it off, and then it damages your credit. You know what I'm saying? Then you look up, and that credit card goes into collections, and then you know what I'm saying?
It's just an ongoing cycle, and you're trying to dig yourself out of this credit card debt.
Yeah.
And to the people that's having this credit card, that are in credit card debt, like, and you want to start working it off and start trying to pull yourself out, because it's like sometimes you dig yourself so deep in the hole, it kind of don't seem like you'll ever be able to see the light. But it's like, figure out what's the highest interest rate on your credit cards and start working toward knocking off the highest interest rate first. A lot of people, they want to start with a smaller balance. It's like, okay, I only owe $500 on this one. So I'm gonna start knocking these out first. But it's like, take that same money and look at which ones that you're paying the highest interest rate on, because like you were saying, that's where the banks make most of their money. So I want to knock out the one with the highest APR first, rather than starting at the lowest, and then you just start knocking out, putting your money towards that. If you're working towards pulling yourself out of debt, because a lot of people, some people who's getting, before they get ready to go into it and just understanding, and then some people a lot of people are already in that debt, and they're trying to figure out, well, what's the process? What's your best advice on pulling myself out? Like, where do I start?
Yeah, do the math. Like, look at your balances and do the math, and look at the whole picture. Like, if they send you your statement and say, okay, you owe $3,000, your interest rate is $600, well, $60, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, $300, whatever your interest rate is for that month, and then you make your minimum payment. Like, you're never gonna get out of the debt until you say, okay, well, shit, let me, I gotta
put more on it.
I gotta start chipping away at the principal and not just the interest. And we get stuck, and we just like, well, I'm just keep paying on it, but I'm just making the bare minimum payment. You gotta look at, okay, well, for me to knock this off in 12 months with the interest on here, because once I chip down at the balance, the interest is gonna drop with it. You know what I'm saying? And then you just do the math. Okay, if I want to knock this down in 12 months, I need to make X amount
of payments and so start using your money to pay. And that kind of happens almost with vehicle financing as well. Like if you take, you get it for 6 years and you take the full 6 years to pay it, how much in interest are you paying? On top of that, where if you say, okay, I'm gonna pay more than just what the minimum balance is, I'm gonna pay a little bit more on it. I can be chipping away, and basically saving money in the long run.
It's a difference, because like with the vehicle, it's like, okay, we in a 60-month term. Like the 60 months, boom, we done. You know what I'm saying?
But you can knock it off before that 60
months.
Yeah,
you can. You could pay more to knock it off, but in the 60 months, we done. Credit cards,
you could sometimes be in there for life.
If you paying a minimum, like, you're gonna be in there for, you know what I'm saying, because you're just paying the interest on it. So they can just hold you.
Never pay the principal.
Exactly. Off. Yeah. So you gotta chip away at the principal, so you can lower your balance, especially if you got a big balance on your credit cards.
And that's when I like that we jumped in with on finances, because this is where a lot of people are wanting to have better understanding of how it works. Just really the money game. I know credit and credit cards is only one aspect and one part of the money game, but it's like once you understand just money and how money moves, and I was talking about it earlier. I was like, where are you getting your information at about money and how the money game works? Like the objective is to make your money work for you. Like, make my money work for me, but understanding credit, understanding, how can you make your money work for you, and how understanding, like, how did you go about getting the information, to change your mentality about finances, like
it's trial and error. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you got to keep living. and go through different things and just be willing to learn from it. You know what I'm saying? And be willing to learn from others. You know what I'm saying? That's doing what you want to do or similar, or or be willing to learn from other mistakes. Okay.
What you my fault, but what you just said right there, because I was talking about that earlier today, and I said, so many people want to be around the people that shine and that got it going on, that's handling their business, and they doing things because it looks good, but we're not. Pick their brain. Like, don't just come be around them just to be around them. I want to be around them and pick their brain and get information. How did you get what you got to do what you're doing? And like you just said, learning from others. Like, are you asking these questions to these people who are doing what they're doing? Are you asking them how? Because a lot of people don't realize that these people who understand the money game and how money works, they're willing to give this information. They want to give this information, but they only want to give that information to somebody who's ready to learn, somebody who wants to absorb the information. So if I'm out and about and I'm doing my thing and you hanging around and you're not coming in as a sponge, or you're not asking questions like you want to learn, then I'm just gonna be kicking it. But then once people realize that you want to learn and you want this information, man, people are willing to give this information. You just have to start asking the question, become a student, be a learner.
Yeah, and right now we live in a time where it's so much, like, information is
widely available.
It's available. All you have to do is just look for it. But it's a lot of people out here that's giving the wrong information, so you have to be careful on who you get your information from. But the main thing is that you try to educate yourself, because that's really the only way to get better at any of this stuff. Credit, finances. Just try to educate yourself on it the best way you can, and try to get around people that know what they're talking about, that actually know the game, and then they got some skin in the game, and they can actually show you, hey, look, this is my credit. This is what I did. Like, they can actually show you and prove to you that, hey, this is what I'm doing.
They
you know
have
what I'm saying?
The results to show, like,
right, because you don't want to be around somebody that's they say, okay, this is how you get your finances in order, and then they finances are not in order. So you really can't learn from that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, like, make sure that whoever you learning from can actually show you, like, hey, my shit.
Done it. Exactly. And that's what I say. You don't believe the messenger. You can't believe in the message until you believe in the messenger. Like, if you haven't done it, why are you taking advice from somebody who don't have the results to show you? Take advice from somebody who's done it, who's been doing it, who can show you and say, hey, look, this is what I've done. Like you said, look, this is my credit. This is what I've invested. This is how I've handled money. I have the results to show that. And then you take lessons. You learn from them and listen to their advice, what they have to say about it. Right. And I said, when I was growing up, my mother, we never learned about credit. We never learned about savings. We never learned about how money moves. And, and my mom, she was just like, I couldn't teach you something that we didn't learn about. I couldn't teach you what I didn't know. Yeah. And so when she told me that, it was like, okay, she couldn't teach me what she didn't know, but that doesn't mean that the information isn't out there. And so many people quit their education, they quit learning after standard education, after standard schooling, after they graduate high school or after they graduate college. They kind of stop their learning process, and they quit trying to educate themselves. But if you only learn what somebody else passed on to you and they just didn't know, then guess what? You're going to continue reliving the same cycle. You have to, like you say, surround yourself around people who are doing more, who are doing, people who've traveled that road, who's already doing what it is that you want to do. Surround yourself with them and then pick their brain. Ask the questions. A lot of people don't want to ask the questions when they get around. They just kind of want to be around. Ask the questions. Hey, how did you go about? What do you think? What's your thoughts on credit? What's your thoughts on savings? What's your thoughts on investments? What's your thought on good debt and bad debt? Just taking it and asking them and allow people to give you their perspective. And then you take it and you listen. And if it makes sense to you, apply it to your life.
Yeah, because see, with credit, it's people just have people have different perspectives on credit. Some people like, shit, I want to pay cash for everything. And that's fine. But when you pay cash for everything, now if you just paying cash for liabilities, that's smart, because liabilities is a liability. However, you know what I'm saying, you really don't want to use credit for liabilities. But if you paying cash for good, things that's actually assets, then your cash can only go so long. So when you learn the credit game, you basically learn how to not spread yourself thin and how to make things stretch. Because if you had, like, an importance of, like, getting your credit and stuff together, if you had an asset that cost you $10,000, right? And you got a credit card, and then you got to take into account the interest and everything that you paying on it. But say for instance, you had a asset that cost $10,000, and I'm just gonna use a small number, and then you have a credit card with say like a $20,000 balance on it, or available credit, and you say, okay, I'm gonna go and I got $10,000 in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? I got $10,000, but that's all I got. It's $10,000.
So do you want to use that?
Yeah. So you, instead of buying that one asset with that $10,000 you have, you take the credit. You buy the asset with the credit card. Then you let the asset pay off the credit card, and then you profit off of the asset.
And that's what a lot of people I know, like you, a lot of people don't understand. That's good debt.
Right, that's good debt. And that's how you make money, you know what I'm saying? And you use credit, and that's the importance of credit. And you could do the same thing, and you could take that $10,000, your last $10,000, and you could buy the asset. But if that asset doesn't pay you back fast enough,
what are you gonna do?
You're gonna end up selling the asset to go get your money, because that's all you had was $10,000. But the credit, it gives you time, and it lets the asset mature. So now over the time, that $10,000 asset is eventually gonna pay off the debt, right?
And then it'll steady be bringing you in more money.
Right. Now you own that asset, and outright, you still got your $10,000, because then another move may pop up where it may only cost you $3,000 to put down on something, and that's how you stretch without spreading yourself thin.
And that's what I know. I had that. It took me a while, because I was always like the cash person. Like I just whatever about credit, until I started doing business, and then was understanding like you just said, like, okay, yeah, I can go spend all my cash on this, but the banks want to give you this money, and it's like if the bank want to give you a loan for $50,000, and you're gonna take that loan rather than going to buy a car, something that's a liability and not gonna bring you any value. I could take that $50,000, invest into this business, and investing into that business is gonna bring me $150,000. Then I don't mind paying the banks back $60,000, an extra $10,000 on that loan. If I'm gonna make $150,000, it's gonna pay for itself.
Right.
But I had to, like, I'm gonna just spend my money. And once I started, like you say, doing business and really understanding, like, use their money, allow their money to pay themselves back, where I don't have to reach into my pocket. I can still have my capital. But you only can do that, like you say, when you have good credit. You're only able to get those loans to do the things, to buy the assets with good credit.
Right. And I know we had this conversation, we chopped it up about this several times, but I feel like anybody in business need, like, if you have a business and you don't have credit, you tripping.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We definitely had that conversation.
You gotta have credit. Like, you need it. Like, it's important, but good credit, not bad debt. You know what I mean? You need to have debt, but it's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Good debt, and bad debt. It's a big difference. Bad debt is the debt that's gonna depreciate, and then it's gonna cost you to pay it. Good debt will pay for itself and pay you. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna pay itself off, and it's gonna pay you. That's good debt. Bad debt is this shit that everybody's gonna do for Christmas. They're gonna go out here and go get a bunch of PS4s and PS5s and all this shit that they can't resell, or if they do resell it, it's gonna be for way less than what they paid for it. You know what I'm saying? That's called bad debt. Like, if you're using your credit cards for that, that's bad debt. Good debt is assets that's pay for its debt and pay you.
And that's I know another example with that is like when people get their income tax. Majority of times you see these used car lots, just all these people going to buy these cars,
right?
Rather than how we did as far as with the trucking company. Let's go get a loan for this truck. We got a truck that's gonna put on the road that's gonna make you some more money. The good debt, because this is making money. That truck on the road is paying for itself, plus bringing us in more money.
Right.
Whereas you go just buy a truck just for your personal usage, just because you got your income tax. Now you steady paying on a note every month that's not bringing you, and you paying interest on that, and it's not bringing you any return on that.
Right. And see, that's like with business, yeah, that's an asset. Like, you know, with the trucks, like, that's an asset. It's a depreciating asset because it's a vehicle, but it's still an asset because it pays for itself and it pays us. But like with a vehicle, yeah, it's gonna depreciate, but then you have to look at it. It's like, all right, if your job or whatever you're doing, if it requires you to have this vehicle and it's serving the purpose of going out there and making you money, then it's still a liability. But if it's helping you make money, then it kind of comes over to somewhat of an asset. Now, if you absolutely needed this vehicle to go and make money, and it was for work, you know, it got you back and forth to work, it helped you travel to go get your money, then, you know, that's one thing. But if you just going out getting luxury cars and shit like that,
people
like
going to buy those foreign cars just to say I got a foreign car, but you really can't even afford that foreign car, but you just want the look and the image of I drive a Benz, I drive a BMW, I drive a Range Rover, but you know that you really can't afford this car, and you don't have, like, that's my thing. Like, don't go spend this money that you don't already have and put yourself in more debt just to keep up with, you know, like you trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, and it ain't like, see, a asset is an asset whether you got it or not. A liability is a liability whether you have it or not. You know what I'm saying? If you got $100 million and you go buy a luxury car that's depreciating, that's not making you no money, that's still a liability. You know what I'm saying? If you don't got the money and you go buy a luxury car and it's depreciating, it's not making you no money, it's still a liability.
One person can afford it, the other person can't afford it, but it's still a depreciating liability.
It's a liability that he can afford because he has it. But and I think you shouldn't play with liabilities until you got to minimize your liabilities and increase your assets. So once you get enough assets to where they can pay for your liabilities, then you can say, okay, and now I can go and do X, Y, Z.
When you're talking about the money game, that's what the money game it comes down to. Allow for your assets to pay for your liabilities. Don't allow for your hard work and your everyday hustle and grind to pay for, you go out and hustle and grind, and then you go spend it all on a liability. Like, nah, take that hustle and grind money, invest that money, and then allow those assets and that return from those investments, allow that to pay for the cars, allow that to pay for your vacations, allow that to pay for your fun, and what about, when I was speaking with my mother as well, I was asking about savings. Like, people were saving their money. It was like, most people save for either a rainy day, or they save for a vacation, or they save for like they're saving for something else. And I was like, we're not taught, and people not teaching, save to invest, to make some more money. Quit say, you work to save to spend. And then you work to save to spend it, and you work and save to spend it, rather than work to save to invest it, and then from the return of that, then you spend it. Like, that's not what we was taught, and I had to unlearn what I was taught, and then start teaching myself that, like, don't use all your hard-earned money to go spend on liabilities.
Right.
Invest into something that's gonna take care of the golden goose, something that's gonna continue to lay the eggs. The eggs is the cars, the jewelry, your liabilities. But if you take care of the golden goose, that the asset, that's gonna forever allow all your liabilities to be taken care of.
And you have to, like, so you can't just save right now because you have to invest your money, or you're gonna lose it. Like, just saving without investing you're gonna lose it. You know what I'm saying? Because the dollar is depreciating. So if you just put a bunch of dollars up, and you like, I'm stacked up, I'm saving, and you don't get that money moving, and you don't get it into something that's gonna produce some type of return, then you're gonna lose that money slowly, but you're gonna be losing it because the dollar is devaluing. You know what I'm saying? It's not it's depreciating. So, like, back in the day, and the information that they had back in the day was correct, because before we removed the dollar off the gold standard, we were making interest. Like, you were getting 15%, 20% interest
by having your money sitting
in the bank.
And now you look at what they paying, like less than 1% on money sitting there.
It's less than 1%. It's less than a point. And the thing is that it's less than a point, and the dollar's depreciating. So you only getting right. So your money is steady. You losing money. So but back in the day, you talking about somebody 60, 70, 80 years old, like, yeah, that was the move because, like, all right, hey, save your money, put it up, and then it was sitting in the bank. But
so it was making some money. It was
making money.
There.
Right. So the goal was back then was like, shit, let me go, stack up all my money, put it in the bank, and then I'm going to live off my interest, which was,
it was more than what it is today.
Right. So if you had $1 million, you know what I'm saying,
15%.
and you earn 15-20% interest, that's $150,000, $200,000 a year. Mm-hmm. You could live off of that. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I say it a lot of time. Even with that, like, don't just. People want to just put your money up in the bank. Just put your money up in a safe. Put your money in a shoebox. Everybody just want to save and stack. Right. And it's like, what good is that money doing you just to say, oh, I got this money. Right. Oh, it's here. What good is having a good credit score if you're not using it? A lot of people are like, oh, I got an 800 plus credit score. But if you're not using that credit for nothing, it's just saying I have a number. I have an 800 credit score. You right. have that because you want to use it. You want to use it to be able to go get loans and for assets. If you got this money sitting up, money is called currency. Current flow. It's supposed to continue flowing. If you hoarding it and you keeping it all, you're not keeping it in motion. You can't allow you hoarding it all to yourself because you're in fear. About money, like you just trying to stack it and hold it and save it just in case a rainy day come. Like, nah, keep the money moving. Keep it in circulation. It's just like anything else. You keep the money moving, you keep it in circulation, you allow for more of it to come back to you rather than just hoarding it, sitting on it. And like you say, when you're hoarding and sitting on it, you're disvaluing yourself because it's depreciating just sitting there.
Yeah, you have to. Now you have to get stacked up because there's gonna be certain investments that's gonna be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be certain investments that's going to cost, you know what I'm saying, to get in it. So it's good to stack up, you know what I'm saying? But
what's your reason
just
why you stacking up?
Don't sit in there too long, you know what I'm saying? The same with credit. Like, get your credit right, but don't just go, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to wait for the right opportunity. Like, okay, because some things, credit could be dangerous too, you know what I'm saying? Like having like a excellent credit score and a lot of available credit.
Why you say that?
It could be dangerous because you could put yourself in a big hole that'd be hard to dig yourself out of.
Or if you jump into an investment.
And then it flop. You know what I'm saying? And shit, now you in debt. Now you in this big hole. Now you know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to start out. You know what I'm saying? That's why they kind of bird feed you. They give you a little $300 credit card, then they bump you to $500. You know what I'm saying? Then $1,000, then $2,000, $3,000, then but it's way easier to fuck up on the $300 credit. If you're gonna fuck up, make sure it's on the $300 credit card and not the $30,000, right? Because that could screw you up to where you know what I'm saying. You can't that's hard to get out of.
And I think my main thing is so many people build their credit score up and just sit on the credit score and never take the opportunities, like no opportunities. It's just I just have a credit score, right. Or they'll keep stacking their money and then they'll never take the leap to invest that money. It's just like I just have this money stacked up, so I'm definitely with stacking. But then I look at it as change your perspective of what you're stacking for. So many people and you don't understand how much power that have. Like so many people they're stacking for a rainy day. They're saving for an emergency fund. If your mind is this money over here is stacked for a rainy day, guess what you're gonna continue having? Rainy days.
Yeah.
If this money is being stacked for an emergency, guess what? For an emergency. If that's stacked up for a vacation, then you're gonna spend that money for a vacation. It's gonna happen. But if you stacking this money up to invest, no, money is for investments. This money is for when the right opportunity presents itself. You might not know what that opportunity is gonna be at right now, but I know I'm stacking because when the opportunity does present itself, I'm gonna capitalize on it. I'm investing that asset because that asset is gonna continue to pay me more. And
so you got to create those opportunities to pop up through education and research and knowing, you know what I'm saying? Like when you get into investing, you need to know that you know that you know you know. You know what I'm saying? Like don't just go when somebody pop up with some shit and then you go hop in it, because then you rolling the dice because you don't know, you don't have no education on it or anything like that. So the thing is, if you trying to invest and really you starting out, you trying to get your shit together, work on your credit. That's very important. Like continue to build your credit, get your credit score up, and just be disciplined. You know what I'm saying? And continue to boost your credit. Then, stack your money. While you doing this, educate yourself. Like look at some things that you may be interested in. Whether it could be trading, it could be stocks, it could be real estate. It could be business. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever that resonate with you.
Right. And then you look and you say, okay, I got it. I understand it. You know what I'm saying? I'm confident. So now when you're ready to jump off the porch, you got all your shit in order. You got your credit score. It's up. You got money saved. So now you can get into it and do what you need to do.
And like you was just saying, like when you start preparing yourself, opportunity starts presenting itself. Because when you start looking for that knowledge and that information on what it is that you want to invest into, you start seeing more different things that before you wasn't seeing, before you was educating yourself. But now that you start reading and learning, you start seeing different opportunities presenting themselves because you're aware. You become more aware of what it is that you're looking for. But if you don't know what it is you're looking for, if you're looking for, like I was saying, if you're looking for a rainy day, then that's what you're going to keep finding. But if you're looking for these opportunities, what am I interested in? What do I want? And you're doing your research, every little thing, conversation, certain words, certain things that's going on around you start standing out a little bit more. And so now you start seeing those opportunities where you're able to take action on, and you have your credit right, you have your finances right because you've been stacking. And another thing, like start living below your means. In the process of doing that, like live below your means. Quit, because you want to start knocking out, these high interest rate credit cards that you in. You want to start knocking out the debt that you have. Start living a little bit below your means and quit trying to keep up with everybody else and what everybody else got going on. See, because you don't know everybody else's situation. Who cares what they got going on? I'm working on me right now.
Yeah, for sure. So like with the kids, right? Mm-hmm. This is a little trick that everybody could do, participate in. But even with the adults, you know what I'm saying? You can get your family or, some good trusted individuals and make sure that whoever you do this with, that they're really disciplined on how to really boost your credit. Is you don't have to come out the gate and get a credit card. You know what I'm saying? Like especially if you just starting off, you're not disciplined, don't go and try to apply for credit cards at that time. You know what I'm saying? When you starting out, excuse me, you have no credit. What you do is you get with a trusted individual, somebody that's disciplined, somebody that got all this shit together, and then you have them add you on to their credit card as a authorized user. And what happens is all the credit from their history goes onto your credit, which if they have 15 years of good credit history, then that goes onto your credit. So then it takes you from having absolutely no credit to having all of that history on there, and then with no debt or no marks on your credit or anything like that, it's gonna shoot your credit up well above 750. You know what I'm saying? And then you just chill there. Then you continue to educate yourself, and then what's gonna happen after that is then they're gonna start shooting you credit card offers. But the credit card offers they're gonna shoot you is gonna be credit cards for somebody with good credit. You know what I'm saying?
Because you got the 750 credit score.
Exactly. So your interest rates are gonna be better. But if you just start out the gate and you don't have any credit, then you go get like a little messed up credit card with a stupid interest rate on it, with a bunch of fees and all that extra stuff. Then it's easier for you to get caught into the trap.
And that's what a lot of people are teaching. Once you're 18, go get your credit card, start building your credit history. And I know that's where it's a bad piece of advice to, like you say, just 18 years old, just graduated high school. Oh, you need to go get your credit card, apply for your credit card. That way you'll have you some money in your pocket, and you can start working on your credit history right then. But like you just said, get put on as an authorized user.
Authorized user. Like get with like. And make sure whoever you dealing with, like for authorized user, that they make sure that they have their ducks in a row, because it could bite you too. Because if they decide, make sure the balance is zero, and make sure this is a credit card that got a lot of history on it and they don't really use, you know what I'm saying? Don't go get on to somebody's credit card where they use daily for whatever personal stuff that they do. Like make sure this is just, okay, this is one I had for a long time. I don't use it. The balance is zero. Okay, cool. Add me on.
so I could get that credit history.
Right.
We had this conversation amongst family gatherings as well, because I was talking to them about that, and I was just like, if each household, add each other on and build each other's credit up, you can add somebody else onto yours and help boost their credit up. But then, like you say, they have to be disciplined and responsible, because if you add me onto your credit card as an authorized user, and you don't have to give them a card, to use, just I'm just adding you on. You don't even have access to the account, but you add me on, and you bad with your credit. Right. And your credit drops, then guess what that's doing to me?
It's gonna mess your credit up. So it's you don't pay the card, then now your credit is gonna, you know what I'm saying? Now you're gonna have these marks on your credit, and you can't get that shit taken off. And if they utilize over 90%, or if they just go and say, okay, I'm gonna just run this up, now it's gonna affect your credit.
Your credit as well as theirs. And I know you brought it up about the kids. I know we did it as far as with Javian starting in 9th grade. I got a 14-year-old, and it was like once he get in high school, we're gonna add him onto our credit as our credit cards as an authorized user, so we can start his history from 14 years old. So by the time he graduates high school, he already has 4 years worth of history. I mean, he already has actually all of our history on his. So he'll be graduating with a 800 plus credit score, rather than some people, they're graduating either with no credit, or some people's parents have abused their credit through these high school years, so they're graduating with a terrible credit score, not even from their own doings.
Yeah, because they don't understand the importance, and that's the thing. Like the same with my kids. Is giving them the advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come out the gate and then educating them, like,
about credit.
Educating them. Like, they already know. I talk to my kids all the time about credit. We've been having this conversation. They understand, like, how to use a credit card, what it's for. You know what I'm saying? They know how to manage it, everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the conversations that, I feel like it's never too soon to have these type of conversations with your kids. You know what I'm saying? And like educate them, because this is what they need to learn. They're not gonna teach them this in school. You know what I'm saying? Unless you had some elite private school, but
majority of these kids aren't understanding how finances really operate.
Right. So you want to give them that advantage, and then the people that the fastest way to get your, like, say if you trying to build your credit up and you 30, you know what I'm saying, or you 25, whatever. That's the fastest way to boost your credit up.
Get with somebody.
You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the tricks that, that I learned a while back. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people just unaware of it. They don't know.
I learned that as well. Add me on as an authorized user, and help boost my credit. But then once you get your credit boosted up, don't go tear it right back down. Right. Like some people get on as authorized user. They'll have a 750 when they start, and then they'll go and they'll apply for these credit cards, and then they don't like you just said, the lack of information. They don't understand. You got a good credit, but you don't understand how to use it, how to utilize it properly, and then they end up tearing their credit down because they just had lack of information.
Right.
And another thing about speaking with the kids, in reference to money, and I work with Javen all the time with this. Is like, anytime he gets money, I tell him, what do wealthy people do? They save first and then they spend what's left over. And then I say, what do poor people do? And he's like, they spend first and then they save. So many people have a bad habit with saving that they get whatever money they get, they'll go and take care of all their bills. Then they'll buy everything that they want. And then whatever's left over after that, which is usually little to nothing, then they'll save that if they save it all. Right. It's like, no, save your money first. When you get paid, put a % to the side for you, for your future family financial, success. That bill is for you. And I want him to understand that and start building that habit now of understanding, whenever I get money, birthday money, Christmas money, allowance money, what do you do with it? I put a % to the side. He pay myself first. That way, when he graduates high school, it's become it's natural. It's a habit. It's like he'll be looking at people like, you don't save first. Like he thinks that is the way that you're supposed to do. That is the way that you're supposed to handle your money. Right. So passing that information and having those discussions with those kids, what are you teaching them about finances? And like you said, they're not teaching this in school. If they had a class over finances in school, I definitely would have took it. Yeah. But they're not offering those that information on how to manage credit, how to save, how to invest, what is good debt, what is bad debt. And it's kind of like how we did. We kind of went out and just freestyled and had to figure out, dig yourself in the hole, realize this ain't the way, and try to figure out, well, how do I dig myself out and how do I keep myself out once I'm out of that hole?
that go back to like what kind of conversations are you having? You know what I'm saying? How do we get out of this? Through conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like the conversations about credit. You know what I'm saying? We done had many of conversations about credit. And it's important that what are your conversations like? You know what I'm saying? Are y'all talking about some bullshit? Are you talking about something that's gonna elevate you? You know what I'm saying? And through conversations and through, all right, hey, I need to work on this and work. Hey, I found this out. Try this. Hey, well, this works. Try that. Well, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Like these type of conversations is what gets you to the point. Right.
That's what people understand. Not like these conversations is how knowledge is passed on and how knowledge is shared, because you might have been doing some research and some studying and some speaking with people who knew about something, and then we have this conversation. You bring the information that you learned to me, and then I take that information, I go back home, I absorb it, I sit down and replay the conversation we had, and I start figuring out, okay, I didn't even know that you can do this. I didn't even know that you can do. Man, I'm so glad he told me about that. But if we're not having these conversations and you're not, that's all information is. It's from one ear to the next ear. But a lot of times we don't pass the information, or we're not even having these conversations and open up this dialogue that people are needing. So like you say, you sitting around talking about bullshit all day. So when you go back home, you have nothing to ponder on that's gonna add substance and add value to you. Open up that dialogue. How can I build my credit? How can I invest? How can I save money? What do I need to do? Give me different perspectives, because you went and found out this information. So the conversations we have, you know, is adding value to me. The information I went out and searched, and I might have spoke with different people on some other different things, and I gained that information and come back and share it with you. Like, we don't want to share information. We don't want to have conversations where we're passing knowledge on. And sometimes that comes from people don't want you to pass them up.
Because people look at, you know, it's an insecurity of them. You know what I'm saying? But I don't care. Like, if whatever people decide to do with their information, that's their right. They earned it. They went and learned it. They did whatever they did to acquire it. They can do whatever they want to do with it. You know what I'm saying? If you choose to share it, cool. If you don't, that's cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, the individual has to want to learn. You know what I'm saying? If you hungry for something, you gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? If you hungry enough, you gonna go get that meal. You know what I'm saying? You gonna eat. Like, so a lot of times it's just, you know, you just gotta be willing to get it. But, you know, you got some people out there that's like that, but it ain't, I ain't knocking them, you know what I'm saying? Like, if whatever they learn, shit, they put that work in, because, see, learning something takes time. You know what I'm saying? It takes something that you can't get back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you read a book, that's an hour of learning. That's your time. You can't get that hour back. You know what I'm saying? So that's your personal time that you put in there. If you have a conversation with somebody and you have an open ear to whatever they have to say, that's your time that you can't get back. So if you invest that time in the information, you know what I'm saying, you could do with it what you choose
to do,
you know
with
what I'm saying?
And one thing I've learned from having discussions with successful people is that their majority of them are willing to give the information that they've learned, but they're so tired of wasting their time talking to people who really don't want to learn it, and really they say they want to learn, they say they want more, but they you can tell that successful people realize they know who's a sponge and ready to absorb some game, and who's just talking out the side of their neck, and they tired of wasting their time talking and speaking with people and trying to help people that don't want to help themselves. But so I've learned, like, when you really want to learn, and like you just said, nothing's gonna stop you from learning, but when you really want to learn and you speak with these successful people, they're gonna be able to realize, and they understand through your conversation and through the questions that you're asking, that this person's serious about life, this person's serious about taking care of their finances, this person's serious about building their credit, and they're more willing to help you when you're really ready to learn and listen to what they have to say. Nobody wants to talk to a brick wall. Nobody wants to keep giving you information, wasting your time giving information just to see you go and take everything that they spent their time giving you and not put it to use.
Yeah, because shit, I'm tired of that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like just, you know, because you don't want to waste your time, because time is valuable, man. Like, don't
waste my time.
Don't waste people's time, you know what I'm saying? Like, and don't let nobody waste your time, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the information, like, if you really want it, it's there. Like, ain't no stopping you if you really want it, you know what I'm saying? You can get it. You can obtain whatever you're looking for. You just gotta really be eager to get it, and you gotta have the passion to really to go after it, you know what I'm saying? So But
that's what, like I was saying earlier, like with me, it was like I became so much of a learner. I turned myself into a student, not a follower, but a student.
right.
Whereas I'm a student, I'm questioning things and I'm asking things and I'm open to learn things. And then I take from it what applies and what works for me. Because some things that I might have learned from success that might not have resonated with me. I was listening to some guy, I think it was Gary Vee, and he was talking about how many hours he put into getting to his success. Like I was doing this, I was doing that, and I gave up this many hours. And certain things like that, like I might not want to give certain amount of hours because I enjoy family. I enjoy my time. I enjoy my peace as well. So certain things, I take advice from certain people on certain things, and then some things you throw out the window. Vice versa with us. Like even with this show, like you can listen in and you hear different perspectives and what apply to you and what you feel that resonate with you. Take it, use it, and apply it to your life. And if it doesn't, throw it out the window. Like, but be open and become a learner and be willing to be that student that you don't think that you know every single thing. You're not thinking that you right about it. And that's what people, they think that they know every single thing about everything. And sometimes what you think you know just ain't so. Like what you think you know about money may not be right if you keep having financial problems.
Right.
Be willing to ask somebody who has financial success, hey, how did you get to that financial success? Have your questions together. Don't, and then be willing to, stretch out and reach out to these people and invest in these relationships. Hey, man, can I take you for lunch one day? I just want to pick your brain for about 30 minutes, an hour if you ever have some time.
Right.
Let me stretch myself out because I want to put myself in position to be able to get something from, to be able to get some game from you if you're willing to share it with me.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah, you like see that in this game you'll never get to the point. You'll never get to the point where you'll know everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be learning is you never stop learning. You know what I'm saying? Process. It's a continuous process. It's so much information out here that like you don't even live enough to learn. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but just continue.
You need a whole bunch of lifetimes to live to try to figure out
everything.
Everything, to know everything. You know what I'm saying?
And once people realize that everything is changing, you'll never know everything. Like you were saying earlier, like in the past, having your money sit in the bank and you earn 15%, that's what was the thing. That was what the move. But times change, things change. So what was true then may not be true today.
Exactly.
So you have to be willing to continuously learn the change. And, we're in a changing time. Everything is always changing. So don't be so stuck in, it's a lot of older generations I see, they so stuck in back in the past and their way of thinking about money from how it was back then that they're unable to evolve into money has changed. What's going on right? They're still leaving their money sitting in these banks, rather than taking that money and investing. Like they're still doing the way it was back then. But if you're continuously learning, you learn, okay, hey, times are changing. Let me start doing something different. Let me figure out what's true now. You know, and work that way. Like be a continuous learner. Don't ever stop learning.
Yeah, try to be ahead of the game. Try to be ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's how you really keep yourself in the loop, in the knowing. And you keep yourself ahead of the game.
Where time's headed to.
Right. And continue to learn, you know what I'm saying? But try to stay ahead of the game, you know what I'm saying? Like we spend a lot of time on old information, you know what I'm saying? Shit that's
what used to be.
And that, even with the schools, like a lot of kids are going to college learning old shit, like old jobs is going to be obsolete when they graduate. So you got to look at the future and you got to look ahead and you got to look at where things are going and how things are moving now.
Why
and then
are we
you
still
have to
learning some of the same things from back in the past, and we're not learning things like moving now? Even like you say right now, technology is kind of taking over. I know we're talking about artificial intelligence. It's like look at where we're moving to in the future and start getting yourself in position. Like you have to become technologically advanced right now because that's where we're moving to. Technology is kind of the new way, and like you say, some of the jobs that people are learning are gonna become obsolete, through this advanced technology.
Yeah. Right.
So
those jobs ain't gonna be there, but we spending a lot of time learning that shit, and you know what I'm saying. We need to, always continue to be a sponge. Be willing to soak up information, and try to learn from people that's doing what you desire to do, and then that has some skin in the game and know what the hell they doing, know what they talking about, and then just whatever works for you. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you desire, like that's your life. You know what I'm saying? You could do whatever with it as you please. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you desire, whatever that you feel is right, or whatever you think that works for you.
Apply it to your life.
Yeah, apply that shit. And then everybody isn't gonna be aligned. Like some of the things that some of my views may be different from your views, or some of the, you know, where I'm trying to go may be a different place from where you trying to go. Yeah. But if you look at the information that I give and what we share on this platform, and if it aligns with what you're trying to do, or if it makes sense, or if you desire to go down that path, then shit, apply it. Take advantage of it and apply it. But if not, you know what I'm saying, keep searching. You know what I'm saying?
If it don't apply, let it fly.
For sure.